Hi everyone and welcome to this video. I'm talking about egg whites and whipping them into a meringue. I want to thank you guys for watching this, but also apologizing for my video quality. I am filming this all by hand because my phone stand, I can't like turn my phone and look into a bowl. I have to go from a side angle, and so just bear with me, but thanks so much for sticking in there with me. So starting out, I'm using a low speed. I have a 5-speed hand mixer, and so I start out on speed 2 because usually when you start out fairly slow, relatively, it's actually going to build a more stable meringue. And so I like to start out with 2 just to get past this first stage, which is the foamy stage. So when you look at the foamy stage, you're going to see a lot of large air bubbles. Your mixture is only going to be doubled in size, maybe tripled in size. It's going to be also fairly yellow. So remember, egg whites have a fairly yellow tinge to them, and so this mixture is going to look like basically foamy egg whites. So it's kind of why it's descriptive of foamy. As you can see, it's very loose. As I give it a shake and give it a stir, there's no structure to this at all. It is just very much almost pure liquid. So it's basically foam on the top and liquid on the bottom. I've never personally seen a recipe say whip your eggs till foamy before adding them, but if you ever find a recipe, 1, let me know what it was, but 2, this is what they're talking about. So foamy, again, is, aerated, large air bubbles, kind of a yellow, but it's lighter in color, but it's not completely white, and it's still very loose. So that is the first stage. Moving into stage 2, which is going to be a soft peak. I should mention that this is all in real time, but I did do some time jumps. And so this is more of a soft peak. And as you can see, the ripples aren't really holding in the meringue. It's all kind of flooding back, but there is more structure. So you can see I'm pulling up with my beaters. It's trying to form a peak. It's not great. As I shake it, there's still some wiggle, not nearly as bad as the foamy stage. As I tilt it, it does kind of slide out of the bowl if I would have kept it there. But so there is some give, but nowhere near the foamy stage. Your meringue is also going to be like quadrupled in size at this point, so it's going to be a lot whiter because there's a lot more air. So as you look at the peaks there really are no peaks. They're not holding any structure. But now it's time to add my sugar and my cream of tartar. I like to wait to add my sugar at at least a soft peak stage just because I want to make sure I don't deflate my meringue on accident. And just so you know, cream of tartar is just an acid that helps stabilize egg whites. If you don't want to use it, you don't have to. It's totally optional. Again, it just helps as a stabilizer. So as I'm going to keep whipping, it's going to move into the medium stage, which I kind of classify this section here as soft medium. And you'll see why in a bit. As I pull out my beaters, there's really, again, no peak. It's all just kind of gloopy and falling back into the bowl. There is structure. So this would be great for like a swoopy pie topping that you're going to bake. So remember, these egg whites are not cooked, so not safe to eat, technically. But so that would be kind of a soft medium. And as you see here, those ripples in the bowl are starting to hold their shape. This is now getting closer to medium. So even those couple of turns of beating would actually make this a little bit stiffer. As a reminder, this is in real time, but I am doing some time jumps, so this process probably takes me about 10 to 15 minutes in total. And so as you can see now, I've whipped it a little longer, and this is now closer to a medium peak. And so those peaks are trying to hold some structure. The ripples are staying put in the meringue. If I make a shorter peak, it does, as you can see, it's a little stiffer, and so most of it stands out straight, but then the tips are drooping down into the bowl. That's like a medium. So I would classify medium peaks as something you can do a lot of piping with. So again, for like a pie topping, you could pipe rosettes and look really beautiful and still have some like nice swoopiness to it. So, but I'm looking for stiff meringue, so I'm keeping on whipping until I get super, super stiff peaks. So after even more beating, I'm going to pull out my beaters, and it looks like it's still a medium peak, but I like to test it more than once. So I'm going to stick my beaters back into my meringue and test a different section. Remember, your beaters won't reach everywhere, and sometimes you might have to give your meringue a stir to really gauge how stiff your meringue is. That is a stiff peak. As you see, those tips are barely hanging down, but it's time for the last test, which is holding the bowl upside down. That meringue is not going anywhere, so that is classified as a stiff peak that I could then use for my French macarons. Thanks for watching this video, and if you liked it, you know what to do. See you in the next one!